Hello. Today I'm a man in a wig who's not wearing a wig because it's really hot out and because I live in an apartment and I have no control over my life. They keep the heater on even though it's 70 degrees out. Luckily for me, since I am a man in a wig who's not wearing a wig, I can also simply take off my real human breasts. So I did do that as well. And I hung them up to dry. Don't ask why they were sopping wet. Um, this is my co-host for today. That's Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, his face on a rat doll. Um, he keeps me company because no one else will. And sometimes I tweet at Mayor Pete that I own this, so I'm probably on a list, but hopefully it's like a list of like fun people, like people who are fun to hang out with and are definitely very stable and cool. So this episode was awesome. So I got really excited to review it right away. So let's just jump into it. The episode starts out, and you can tell that Lucy has been scared straight, or whatever, scared gay, or because she's just like very hesitantly talking about her wins, and she's like, "I have two maxi challenge wins, just like you, Lux," and like you can tell she's very traumatized from talking about her wins, um, which she should be. And you know what, this episode, not to get too far ahead of myself, but I think I'm out of my let's torment Lucy era because I I don't think she's gonna break. I think she's like at this point she's just being bullied. So oops. Sorry if I manifested that. I thought she'd break sooner, but she's just too tough. I thought she would let loose like she told us, but she just remained stoic, and now it feels bad to bully her. Oops. What else happens? Before anything, yeah, the girls are all talking about like their eras, what era they're entering. This is more twin appropriation. They're taking the canned bits and they're taking the eras, but guess what? That apparently only works for the twins because when they're doing it, I'm annoyed. I'm entering my sick of hearing people entering their era's era. That's the era I'm in. And it just continues for the rest of the episode. So, you know, this is what we get in 90-minute episodes. We get things that annoy me, which, hey, conflict is the spice of life, so we can keep that in, I guess. And nothing else really happens except Lucy still looks terrifying, and Anitra, the lyricist, makes like a funny comment. "I'm a ghoul-ass bitch, I'm Joey J. Love it. Let's finish the song, Anitra. You're so talented. I would do anything for you. Call me. Maybe you could be my next doll. I'm sorry, but I'm not that sorry because I'm definitely going to leave that in just in case she does call me." So the girls gather in the workroom, and Rue reveals that the next challenge is going to be the Rusical, and they will be doing Wigloose. Lucy LaDuca is hilarious this episode, and she's like, "Oh my god, are we going to do Let Loose as like a Rusical?" Hilarious. Stream Let Loose by Lucy LaDuca. Let's get that to 1 million, babes. She deserves it. Let's get her a deal with Rush Poppers. She deserves it. She's been through so much. And yes, 99% of it was my fault, and I egged it on, and I still kind of am. But yeah, stream it. Get her 3 cents from Spotify. But yeah, Wigloose, set in the 80s, takes place in a small town where drag is outlawed. Very real, very scary. I was like, is this gonna make me sad? But no, it was overall like a very like empowering episode. Good for Rupaul. I feel like he takes advantage of the amazing platform that he's created. So, following that, it cuts to the dreaded couch where they're like, okay, pick your roles. And I swear to God, like, the hair on my arm stood up because I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, they're going to start fighting about what role they want. Some of the more, some people pick theirs immediately and no one's even that bothered. Like Mistress gets preacher teacher, which I think is great. Anitra gets mama because she's my mama. I'm gonna get arrested. And Sasha immediately gets Carl because no one wanted Carl. I didn't expect that from Sasha. So I thought that was kind of like a good idea from her to pick something that maybe people don't expect. But then Lux is like, okay, I'm leaning towards Christian and uh, Heaven Bacon. And Lucy's like, oh yeah, like I was thinking of Heaven too. And Lux is like, okay, well I was only thinking of Heaven, and I don't want Christian anymore. Lux is in it. Lux is in it to create drama, to create TV history, and to make Lucy need years of therapy. Um, and I think the drama surrounding it is so strange because like Lux and Mistress are like, just say it. You want the lead role. Like, is that drama? Like, is it surprising that a theater gay who like I don't know, is it surprising that a theater gay wants the lead role in a musical? Doesn't everyone? Like, if you think you can do it, why wouldn't you? And they're like, you're fake for wanting that. Like, what? I don't get it. But I loved it. But I don't get it. Um, and yeah, I think I am starting my Lucy Stan side hustle because I really hate the critique that people give that they're like, you're not being real. Like, we saw it with Jan. And I just don't get what that means because I feel like Lucy is showing up like authentically. You just don't like her. Like you don't like her authentic self, which like probably hurts more to say, which is probably why people don't say it. But like I feel like if you're the person receiving that critique and they're like you're deceitful and showing up fake, like that's probably really frustrating and traumatic to be told because you're like, what? No, I'm not. And then like you can't really convince people that you're showing up authentically if they just decide you're fake. So like that's probably not doing wonders for her current mood. But they do push that a lot. Um, and then it's funny because like after like assaulting Lucy for like 5 minutes straight, Lux and Mistress are like, whoa, this is a lot of emotion for like what's going on. I was like, besties, girlies, you've been attacking this woman. And they're just like, that's a lot of emotion for being psychologically attacked. Like, okay, true, so true. And I'm not mad at Mistress and Lux. Like, I think I understand that they are just teasing and like cutting up, but I don't. I just don't think Lucy really gets that, and that's not really Lucy's fault. Like, you kind of just have to, if you're those people that are kind of jokey and teasy, you kind of have a responsibility to realize when someone's not really getting it or doesn't really like respond well to that type of humor because like even if their intent isn't to bully her, I think at this point it is like a little bit of bullying. So I don't love it, but you know, it's reality TV. They don't all have to be friends. So we see the girls preparing for the challenge, and Rue enters the workroom. I assume to try and dredge up some trauma because he pulls his all reliables. He gets Sasha, Anitra, and Selena. Um, and they start with Sasha, and they're just kind of talking about like Sasha's trouble with her parents, and like Sasha's like very tearfully explaining some of this trauma. Which first I'm like, oh, okay, she's gonna like win or be safe. But Rue makes this hilarious face at one point when like Sasha's like, yeah, my mom told me like I'm not gonna get into heaven, and Rue's like, aw. Anyway, like he didn't seem super invested in this story, but I think he does just like to wheel Sasha out. And it's like, let's get more. You've got some damage. Let's get that out there. So you know how I feel about that. And then, oh, like Selena and Lucy are talking. Selena is the therapist of the season. If they don't give her like Miss Congeniality, these girls are rotten because they like the amount of emotional labor Selena has had to do on this show unpaid. I don't think she's won like $1 so far. So like, damn. She's really just sitting there like help propelling these other girls to victory by like absorbing all their trauma. But yeah, she's talking to Lucy, and Lucy's kind of explaining, how upset she feels and kind of like how she feels bullied. And I feel like Selena's response was like really good. She validated Lucy, but also kind of explained like where Mistress and Lux are coming from, and maybe how she can take steps to not let it affect her so much. Which I understood what she was saying, and like she was so correct, and I was like, oh, Lucy's really gonna benefit from this, and I feel like we were making progress. And then Lucy's like, anyway, I know I'm the best, and like I carried Lux to a victory, and I just need to think more about myself and fight harder. And I was like, I don't think that's it. I don't think that's what people want. I don't think they need you fighting more and being more delusional. But like, if that's what you got out of that, I love it, babe. I love it. Um, and it's funny that like, I think Mistress picks up on the fact that Selena is doing like a lot of this emotional baggage because she calls out like, Selena, why is everyone always crying when they're in a one-on-one with you? Which is hilarious and true. I think she's done this to like 4 girls, and I don't know who else has had like that emotional one-on-one moment. So Selena, empath of the season, love it. And then Rue has a one-on-one with Anitra, and Anitra starts like trauma dumping. And Rue is like salivating, and again I'm like, oh, Anitra's gonna win, because you can kind of tell when Rue is like excited by certain traumas, and he loves to hear like drag saved someone's life, and I think Anitra says that like verbatim. So Rue is gobbling it up, and he tells Anitra at one point she was born to do drag, which is just like, if he says that about you, you're probably top 4. You're probably in the running to win. That's like his new line. Although he did say it to Georges, and then I don't know what happened there. I think, yeah. It's a sign that he's going to carry you. Maybe not to top 4, but he's going to carry you. Or siphon your life essence to get 10 more years of life. I don't know. And then we see Rue talk to Selena, and I feel like the contrast is like palpable. He's like, ugh, just breathe, girl. You're a lot. Anyway, get out of here. And I was like, oh, okay. I think Selena wanted, like, she kind of had some trauma prepped, and Rue was just like, I don't like yours. Go away. So she does. Poor Selena. She was trying to connect as the therapist. Every therapist needs a therapist, and she was like, Rue, help me out. And Rue was like, ugh, yuck, get out of here. So true. So next we see the girls learning choreo, and this is kind of where I realized like Lucy's storyline is locked in. They will not be changing it. They have decided that she is the uptight girl that nobody likes because like Lucy's doing the choreo, and I thought she did it fine, like especially for just learning it. And Miguel's like, ew, gross, your moves are so studied and rigid. It's like you've never had fun in your life and you're so uptight. Like reading off a cue card, like, did I get it right? Like I didn't really see that, but then when he said that, I was like, oh Jesus, like that's tough, Lucy. Hope you can afford a therapist. And then Anitra continues to play 5D chess while everybody else is playing checkers because she does a masterful job of pretending that she doesn't know how to dance, which lures everybody into a false sense of security. Great job not doing a good job. You tricked everybody again. And Lux has like the funniest reveal of the season where she like kicks off her jacket and then Mistress grabs it and like she shows that there's still like a security tag on it, like hinting or like implying that Lux had stolen the jacket. Lux is like, that's not true. I think it's true. Which like, I'm a criminal too now. I stole editing software famously. So I am on a list, not the list I'm on for that doll over there, but a list. And I also, in continuing down my criminal path the other day, I broke the law again by not paying the metro fare because I didn't have any cash on me, and I forgot you had to pay money for things. And then like I don't know, I ran away. But then I felt so bad. I went up to like the guard and explained, and he laughed and he's like, oh wait, you actually pay? Like nobody does that. And I was like, oh well, okay, I committed a crime. You should probably shoot me. But that's funny. That's funny. What a fun moment. Anyway, enough about me. Selena in a cowboy hat. Was that doing anything for anybody else? That was like, I enjoyed that. Interesting. I think my conspiracy theory is that no matter what role Selena got, they were going to make her dance in a cowboy hat. I have no proof for that, but like the way she was gooped when they were like, it's Western, like Tuck's Western. I was like, I think they thought that she wouldn't be able to do that, but Selena was like, joke's on you, I am a cowgirl through and through. And so yeah, that was incredible. I feel like this was a good episode for Selena. She had a lot of funny moments, a lot of narration. She got to show off like how empathetic she is. Loved it for her. And I was also surprised at how shy Mistress was. Like, I know she said she's not good at choreography, but I feel like even so, she was like very self-conscious and like not really wanting to practice in front of everyone. Um, and we kind of see this like later on in the episode too, her being like a little shy. So I was kind of surprised how like behind the scenes she can be such a personality and sassy, but like it seems that like in front of like other people, like Rue, the judges, whatever, like she is a little more reserved and almost like scared to show that side of herself, I felt. So then the girlies are putting on their makeup, getting ready for the challenge, and I was kind of honestly, even though we just had it, I was expecting Selena again to be like in a half face of makeup and then someone to trauma dump on her, but instead we get an intense reminder that Sasha, like, not only is the front of Sasha perfect, but she could crush your head like a watermelon between her ass cheeks. I swear to God, they have this like crazy camera angle where it's just her in tights and it's just like, I don't know. The girls are girling wild. I didn't know your butt could look like that, and now I'm just like, oh, if anyone knows what tights she's wearing, let me know. I want them to see if it helps. And then, oh yeah, Lux and Mistress decide to continue tormenting Lucy. And you know, I have started to backtrack on me wishing for that. It's getting tough. Yeah, Lucy refuses to snap, and she's just getting her entire psyche dismantled. It's tough to watch now. Tough to watch. Also, did we know Lux had hair? Like, they cut to her, and I was like, who is that? I think I've never seen her without her like hat, which I hate. But don't tell her, because what does it matter if I hate it? But I really do hate it. But like I saw her like with hair just sitting there and I was like, oh my God. So that was weird. And then also I thought it was hilarious where they're like talking about their roles, and then Lux is like, yeah, Christian's story is exactly my story. And I was like, girl, you just pulled a knife on Lucy 10 minutes ago, fighting for your life to get Lucy's role. And you're just like, never mind, Christian's perfect. Like, that's how you can tell, like, she just does these things to fight Lucy, and she's so correct for that. So good on you, Lux. I think I'm starting to understand her now, which is like a baby gay with a lot of rage. Love it. And the girls start to get into like a pretty serious topic, like the state of the world and drag story times and how that's kind of getting banned all around the United States. I don't like too many jokes about this, but it is important that, like, you know, even though this is like a reality TV show, I think they still recognize like what a huge platform this is, and so they talk about issues like this. A lot of the girls have really good insight, and you know, they kind of talk about how this has affected them. Sasha in particular, I think, really shows like her maturity and kind of why she's so celebrated in the community, because she had, again, like a lot of great insight, and you can tell like not only has she lived through it, but she's had to advocate for her own rights. So this made me like really appreciate her more. And then also iconic is like everyone I feel like has added something, you know, their own story or whatever. And then Lux hasn't said a word, but she does end the conversation by saying exactorini, and then it just cuts. And I'm like, I love it. That's kind of like so poignant and impactful. I don't know what else she could have offered to the conversation that would have had as much of an impact as that. So like, great job, Lux. I love what you're selling now. I think I'm on the Lux train. So Rue walks out before the challenge and is in one of like my favorite outfits that I've ever seen her in. She looks so good, but now it's like kind of scary. Like, how do you look so good? That's weird. That's suspicious. What do you know that the rest of us don't know? What's going on there? So keep an eye on that one. It's kind of like, yeah, she's 60, but how long has she been 60? Like Twilight? I don't know. That would suck to be a 60-year-old vampire, like getting bit instead. Like, everyone wants to get bit when they're 20 and hot. Sorry, sidebar. The guest judge was a man I've never heard of. What was his name? Orville Peck. I hadn't heard of him at the time, but then I was very interested to learn more immediately. So now I have his entire Wikipedia page memorized, and I have a mood board about what I think our life would be like together. So that he was a good guest judge. Good choice. And okay, yeah. So the Rusical starts, and I'll just say like this is probably my favorite Rusical ever. I think it does always sound like more polished when they don't use the girls' vocals. Like they brought in some professionals, which always makes it's like a little cheaty, but it does make it sound better. And I think the girls can focus more on like just doing the moves and instead of like having to learn word or like sing whatever. So I think that kind of cheated up the quality, but overall still amazing. Some highlights from it. There's this one moment where like at the beginning they like something black and white, and then like all the people sitting down like salute and go white, and I'm like, it was really scary to me. If I ever get popular, that's gonna be a scary clip. Like, don't clip that. I was doing the Rusical. I'm part of it. But it just like blew me out of my chair when they did that. I was like, oh, we're going there. Like, damn. I'm glad they went there. It was just unexpected. Lucy is very blessed that she didn't get like that she wasn't the one playing Tuck, because if Lucy was sitting there and she had to go white, I think that would be scary. I think that wouldn't be good for her. I think it was better that Selena and Lux were doing that because it was like whimsical for them, but Lucy in her serious era, I think that would have been scary. And then we get like our obligatory poo poo pee pee joke, where everyone has pink eye from eating the poo poo or something. That was a standout moment for me just because I'm sick and twisted, I suppose. What else? Oh yeah, I really think that like Lux and Lucy were really made for the roles that they got. Like I enjoyed both of what they were doing, and I like couldn't imagine it flip-flopped. When Lux did that, like I'm not even going to attempt to mimic that, but she's like the freaky thing I do with my throat. I am gonna attempt to mimic it. That was hilarious. I think she could have won just for that. Did I do a good job? Let me know. My conspiracy theory, this is like very disorganized thoughts, but I was so overwhelmed by how much I liked it. You'll have to deal with it. My conspiracy theory regarding the Rusical is that Rupaul started the anti-drag laws and has been pushing for them just so this episode would look more poignant and that he could sell more copies of his book Guru. I don't think that's true in my heart of hearts, but I like to spread misinformation and make the world a worse place, so I am going to put that out there. When Sasha finally makes her appearance, Carl's hot. Carl's supposed to be like this submissive little husband, but Sasha being Sasha, she brings the sex appeal to everything she does. Also, Anitra in a big wig, incredible. Who would have known? Me. But I'm glad other people get to know now too. And she's so good at playing like an encouraging mother. It has me down, not just like down bad, like down catastrophic. Like I'm not happy where I'm at in my, it's not fun to stand people when you're truly standing someone. I'm like, I just want to be free. I want to be happy. I want to be able to think about other things, but I'm not able to because Anitra did amazing. So at the end of the challenge, like I feel like everybody did well, and I could easily see this being an episode where nobody goes home, but I think they're a little too traumatized from last season where everyone was so mad that they wouldn't send girls home. So I think they're kind of in the mindset that like, even though I think everybody did amazing, they're gonna still send people home. If I had to pick a bottom two, I think it would be Selena and Lux, not because I think they did like a bad job, but because they had more minor roles, so it was just like I remember less of them, except for Lux's throat thing. Sasha's role was minor too, but Sasha's so good at like emoting that whenever she's like on stage and has a part, she really does draw focus, and it's always like funny. So I would say despite Sasha also having a minor role, she would be safe. And for winners, I think it was between Anitra and Lucy. And I was leaning toward Lucy. I know, crazy. Just because she just had more of a major role. I just remember a lot more that Lucy did. Like, Anitra didn't even really come into the Rusical until the second half, where I think she did amazing, but like, she had a lot less to do compared to Lucy. So I think it's like commendable that Lucy was able to consistently deliver an amazing performance throughout the Rusical. So I would say Lucy win. Now for the runway, the category was Everybody Say Glove, which I think is a fun category, but I think a lot of people took it like really literally, which is why maybe this didn't end up shaking out as my favorite. But starting with Lucy, I think this is my least favorite thing she's worn. I don't think like the little frills she has are in a flattering place, like to make a proportion. And like I didn't really get Monster honestly until like she held up her hands and like really strained to spread like her little monster claw gloves. I feel like there could have been a little more. Yeah, I think the idea is good, but she just didn't really take it as far as it needed to go. Anitra was stunning. And I mean that. I'm not just, I am a stan, and I'll always say that, but I'm not just saying that this time. I thought the lasers was a fun idea. And I would love to be blinded by her lasers. I would love to watch her take down a plane with her hand lasers. Shh. Don't do that, that's illegal. But Mistress was my favorite look. So yeah, I'm not just a horrible Anitra stan. I think Mistress had my favorite look. The way it was proportioned was insane. Like her legs were like this big, and then the booty was like, yeah, like off screen. And then it was just, again, like, that must hurt. She must be in so much pain, but wonderful, wonderful job. And I'll forgive the fact that she, for the 800th time this episode, mentioned being in a different era. Please stop. I know this was done in the past, so you're probably already done, but I am going to very emotionally react to something you did months ago. And Lux tickled me because, well, first of all, love the idea. I knew that girl. I wanted to be that emo boy, but I could never pull it off. But the thing that really tickled me was she was wearing the wig that was on one of Mistress's puppets from an earlier episode. Now, was the wig originally Lux's, or was the wig originally the puppet's? I don't know. I would like to know, though. So, that was delightful. Also, if you're nasty, I wonder if Lux needed help from her mother with her 2 broken hands. The girls who get it. But you shouldn't want to get it. And Selena's look, I thought was amazing. I was surprised at the reaction to it. And I feel like that just kind of like affirms that, not that people don't like get what Selena's going for, but I feel like some people appreciate it and other people don't. I feel like I know the girl that Selena is embodying. I like her. She does it well. I think she has very good like expressions and emotions on the runway that really kind of sell what she's doing. And I thought it was like really campy and fun. So I don't know. I've been consistently enjoying her runway package, which isn't to say like with a little more money she could definitely be elevated, but I feel like people really like overstate how sloppy her runways are. Like, I don't think they're sloppy. I think you just don't like the aesthetic. So I guess I'm a Selena stan too. I don't know. She just had a great episode, and I really enjoyed everything she did. And then Sasha's was one of my favorites. I think she might have been the only one who really kind of took like the glove thing more conceptual, and she made that outfit out of baseball gloves. Where's Marcia when you need her? A conceptual look while she's at home because she got sent home. I'm not sure if I loved Sasha's makeup. Not that it was done poorly, but it was like kind of intense for what she was wearing. It looked like she got hit with like a baseball in her eye. Maybe that was the point. I don't know. If that was the point, you nailed it. But I don't think it was. But yeah, I thought this was, no one's look was like rancid. I was just kind of like, besides Sasha, I was like, this is kind of like what I expected, which is fine, I guess. Their critiques. Um, Lucy, I think she was like really expecting to just like easily sweep the competition and win, and they give her like two very basic compliments before they're just like, but you did ruin the entire performance by being a workaholic who doesn't know how to have fun, and you drain the energy out of a room and everybody hates you. And I was like, okay, they're either gonna kick her off this episode or keep her so we can just keep beating her. Good for her. She's very powerful for not having cracked yet. I thought she did amazing. I really thought that she could pull out a win here, but it seems like she is not going to. And then Anitra's critiques I also agreed with. She brought like a lot of warmth to the mother character. But between like Lucy and Anitra, I think Lucy would edge it out, but since they don't seem interested in her, I did, you know, spoiler alert, Anitra wins, and yeah, the critiques kind of match up to that. Mistress also gets positive critique. Like, everyone gets positive critiques, so I guess I'll stop saying that. Nobody did poorly. I just don't think Mistress was as good as, like, the top two I had already mentioned. And then, when they're talking to Lux, I love how the camera, like, instead of focusing on Lux, the camera keeps cutting to Lucy. Like, I think they're really trying to play into, like, this, them hating each other, and they, like, expect Lucy to make, like a sour look or something every time they compliment Lux, but Lucy's literally just standing there like, so you can't crack this woman. And then, well, Lux certainly tries, because after all that, after her critiques, Lux is like, by the way, I just want to clarify that I gave the role to Lucy after Lucy gave you the role, but I gave the role to Lucy. So we are beating up Lucy behind the scenes. We are beating up Lucy in front of the judges. Bravo, Lux. Like, at least you are consistent. At least you are not trying to, like, well, be fake, I guess. You are always at 100 playing Lux, and I can respect that. Michelle moves on to Selena and calls her like Rosie O'Donnell or something. Is that nice to say? Isn't she like really conservative now? I don't know. Hopefully I didn't make that up. I'm not gonna look, so hopefully it's true. And then like Selena smells blood in the water and she's like, I'm gonna cry, I think. And then you can tell Rue's like, I'm not invested in your trauma anymore. Moving on. Oh, also, never mind, before moving on, Ross says like he's looking at Selena, who looks like one of the dancing lobsters from the Amanda show with the hugest gloves I've ever seen. And Ross is like, I couldn't really tell that you had gloves on. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you, Ross. Stop weaponizing your poor vision. Like, don't make it my problem. Go get glasses. She has the biggest gloves. Shut up. Sorry. And then, yeah, finally for Sasha, she just got, like, positive critiques. And I felt very validated that everyone else was like, Carl was hot. And I was like, Carl was hot. Thank you. Thank you. So, yeah, I think the critiques were overall so positive that, you know, I did assume that maybe it was an episode where everybody gets to stay, but that is not what happens. Instead, we see Lucy and Selena are in the bottom, sick and twisted. So before we get to figure out who won and who's lip syncing, they ask the dreaded question of who should go home. They start with Lucy, and Lucy says Selena, which really hurt my heart. I get why, because Selena does objectively have the worst track record, but like, Selena is one of the only people in this competition that has like consistently been a friend to Lucy from what we've seen. Like, I don't know everything that's going on behind the scenes, but like, we had just seen them have a moment where like Selena is Lucy's shoulder to cry on. Like, you don't have to tell the truth here. You can say anything you want. You can say, I want Lux and Mistress to go home because they smell bad. And that can be that. You know, she really let loose here after people begged for it. And I was like, this isn't the time to let loose. You should have let logical. I don't know. Be nice to your friends. So I didn't love that. But it's a tough question. I get that people mess it up and they don't always go with like the most logical thing. And then, other notable things. Mistress says Sasha, which again, I think, huge cop-out. first of all, she's like, Sasha, because she's the strongest competition. Like, shut up. That's so boring. I wanted more from you of all people. And I think that kind of like was thinking earlier, like, she is kind of like shy in front of the judges and everything. She doesn't really bring the drama when it's not just like her and the girls. So it's interesting to see kind of this side of her that isn't as sassy as I expected. And then Lux. Wow. I think this was the moment where I was like, I truly get who Lux is. She is an educated woman of STEM. She wrote a dissertation and delivered a TED Talk on how Lucy is a flop and everybody else brings something to the table except for Lucy. It took so long and I was sitting there sweating. And you can see the judges like realize what is happening as she's going down the list, and like Ross is salivating. He's eating it up. Rue's also eating it up. He's like, this is my Emmy moment. It's incredible. It was amazing. I wonder how much longer it was like in person, because even the edit felt ungodly long. So maybe she even went through like in person everyone who had already been eliminated. I don't know. Maybe even the other seasons. Every other drag queen that's ever been on RuPaul's Drag Race. And then she was like, except for Lucy. That is very like, except for Serena energy. Love it. Love it. And then Selena rightfully flips the question right back on Lucy. And Sasha chooses to cop out like Mistress. If I was Lucy after hearing both Sasha and Mistress cop out, I would be like, oh, I didn't know we could just choose not to participate. I'm gonna change my answer too. Like, dang, that wasn't fair. I would have absolutely said something. That's really unfair. And you know that's why they put her first, because if Lucy had heard either of them say that beforehand, she absolutely would have been like more congenial, but they put her on the spot. They know how to make her crack. Well, apparently they don't, because she hasn't, but they know how to psychologically torture someone, is what I mean. Then finally, after all that, we see that Anitra is the winner. Woo! And Selena and Lucy are in the bottom. Kind of expected. Actually, that's a lie. It wasn't expected. It was expected because of Lucy's storyline, but I thought she could have won. So, unexpected in that way. And they keep trying to push this by like the not having fun critique. I wouldn't be having fun either. After what you've done to this girl, if she was still having fun, that would be a miracle. I think that'd be scarier. Like, what's going on there? But then the lip sync song is to Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush. Love the song on its own, but like I feel like that's one of those songs where it's not a great lip sync song, and they do that on purpose because it's like they can probably justify sending anybody home or both of them home if they want to, like depending on the storylines they have going. Honestly, like nothing really memorable happens in the lip sync. Like I like when Selena takes off her little lobster claws, but like otherwise it's just exactly what you would expect from this lip sync. If you look up like Kate Bush dancing, she's actually like a little freaky. And I would have loved to see like one of the queens maybe try and do that, but like you really have to be into like Kate Bush lore, which I don't know if there are a lot of people into that. I'm into it. But anyway, Lucy ends up winning, and I almost feel like she wishes she wouldn't, so she could finally be free from this cycle, this vicious cycle. But she does win. And I also love, like, this is backtracking a bit, but I love when, like, they always try and sell the emotion of a lip sync to you, like, how you're supposed to feel, and they wanted us to think this one was really bad, because they cut to so many faces of, like, Rue and Michelle being like, they are laying it on thick. So I think they were definitely setting it up for, like, we can send home anyone we want, but I think they decided to keep Lucy just because of how extra she was this episode and how much drama she generates. Maybe I won't even say that Lucy generates the drama. I think she's easy to prod into being a part of drama. So yeah, that's the end of the episode. Easily one of the best episodes we've had. I'm very sad to see Miss Selena go, but I'm also happy with the top 5. Is it 5? Top 5 that we have. And it's kind of also exactly what I expected. And this season has been so refreshing because I feel like we're finally getting that return to like drama that people miss from the early seasons. I think it's a nice change after like All Star 7, where I mean I wouldn't have wanted that to be different, but we've had a few seasons in a row that were like very positive, very Rupaul's best friends race. So this has been very refreshing, and I think it's a good mix of like sass and also like sisterhood. So I think that's all I got on this episode. Next week I'll try and get my real human breasts back. But it is far too hot today, and I'm gonna go lay in the dirt for the rest of the day. Goodbye.